boy?
Hey, Mrs. Jefferson.
Oh, let me have a ginger ale.
Uh-oh. Tough day, huh?
When I've got something to do, I do it fine. When I've got nothing to do, I do it lousy.
And it takes you longer.
That's right.
Most of us probably remember the iconic The Jeffersons show that brought laughter and warmth into our homes. But what really happened behind the scenes? In an eye-opening revelation, Isabel Sanford, the heart of the show, exposes why Hollywood pulled the plug on this beloved classic. So, what exactly did she say?
That they called us in April, like in the middle of hiatus, and to say that we were canceled.
The Jeffersons was a groundbreaking sitcom that emerged as a cultural phenomenon that ventured where few television shows dared to tread. Premiering on January 18, 1975, just a week after a tearful farewell on All in the Family, this show followed the lives of George and Louise Jefferson as they made the leap from a working-class neighborhood in Queens, New York, to the posh Colby East on East 63rd Street in Manhattan. George Jefferson's journey began in the first season of All in the Family, where he started as a dry cleaner with dreams beyond his modest beginnings. Following a fortunate car accident settlement, he opened his first store in Queens and, by the start of The Jeffersons, expanded to operate 5 stores across New York City. The show aptly captured the upward mobility of the Jefferson family, reflecting the changing socio-economic landscape of the 1970s. At the heart of the show was the Jeffersons' interactions with an array of characters who enriched the narrative. Louise befriended Tom and Helen Willis, an interracial couple with 2 adult children. This added an extra layer to the show, exploring themes of race and relationships in a way that was groundbreaking for its time. Lionel, the son of George and Louise, eventually formed a romantic connection with Jenny, the Willis' daughter, leading to a marriage that further showcased the show's commitment to portraying diverse and evolving relationships. Marla Gibbs portrayed Florence Johnston, the sharp-tongued and religious housekeeper of the Jeffersons. Her witty banter with George, often centered around his height and hairline, added humor to the show. In a memorable episode, George even asked Florence to insult him to impress a potential business partner, showcasing the unique dynamics of their relationship. The cast expanded further with the introduction of Paul Benedict as Harry Bentley, the amiable British neighbor with a penchant for long-winded stories. The running gag of George slamming the door on Bentley mid-conversation became a hallmark of the show. Zara Cully played George's mother, Olivia Mother Jefferson, providing a constant source of disapproval toward Louise. Cully's untimely death in 1978 led to Mother Jefferson's gradual exit from the series. Ned Werdemer portrayed Ralph Hart, the Jeffersons' tip-hungry doorman, whose persistent requests for tips created comedic moments throughout the series. Danny Wells played Charlie, the owner and bartender of a nearby bar, a popular spot for the cast to unwind. The revelation of Charlie's alcoholism in a later episode added a touch of realism to the character's journey. At its core, the Jeffersons shattered industry norms by portraying an upwardly mobile African-American family, transcending the stereotypical portrayals prevalent in the television landscape of the 1970s. George and Wheezy Jefferson, having moved on up to the affluent side of Manhattan, defied prevailing stereotypes, offering viewers a refreshing and positive representation of Black success. Before the 1970s, the representation of the Black experience in the media was severely limited, if not entirely absent. Black characters, when included in shows, were frequently relegated to stereotypical roles, portraying them as either buffoonish fools or menacing criminals. This lack of authentic portrayal perpetuated harmful stereotypes and hindered the nuanced depiction of the Black community. The landscape began to shift with the emergence of shows like Norman Lear's Good Times in the early 1970s, marking a significant step forward in showcasing stories centered around Black characters and providing substantial roles for Black actors on television. While the introduction of Good Times was a notable advancement, it failed to address the concerns of everyone within the Black community. The Black Panther Party took a proactive stance, initiating a meeting with Norman Lear to express their grievances about the portrayal of Black characters on the show. Their primary contention was that, even in shows featuring Black casts, the narrative consistently depicted Black individuals as economically disadvantaged, inadvertently reinforcing certain stereotypes while challenging others. the Panther representatives highlighted the character of the Evans family patriarch who, in order to support his large family, had to juggle multiple jobs. Additionally, they pointed out the pervasive depiction of Black characters in inexpensive clothing and other negative stereotypes. The feedback from the Black Panther Party resonated deeply with Norman Lear, prompting a shift in his perspective. This dialogue inspired Lear to conceptualize the Jeffersons as a deliberate effort to showcase a Black family achieving genuine economic success and living out the American dream. The intention was to counter the prevailing narratives and demonstrate that successful and prosperous Black individuals existed in the world, whose stories could be both compelling and humorous. Lear's commitment to portraying a more diverse and positive representation of Black experiences paved the way for the Jeffersons to become a groundbreaking series that challenged stereotypes and contributed to a more accurate portrayal of Black life on television. The show fearlessly delved into sensitive topics that were rarely addressed on mainstream television during this era. From the groundbreaking portrayal of Helen and Tom Willis, an interracial couple challenging societal norms, to the exploration of transgender representation through George's Old Navy pal Edie, the Jeffersons confronted societal taboos head-on. The impact of the show reached beyond mere entertainment. Its storytelling, peppered with humor and wit, served as a catalyst for social discussions, fostering a more inclusive dialogue. However, the conclusion of The Jeffersons was marred by controversy when CBS unexpectedly terminated the series without affording it a fitting farewell in the form of a proper series finale. The abrupt cancellation came to light after the broadcast of the July 2nd, 1985, episode titled Red Robins. Shockingly, members of the cast were left in the dark until after this episode aired, with Sherman Hemsley, the actor behind the iconic George Jefferson, discovering the show's demise through a newspaper article. The lack of communication and transparency surrounding the cancellation became glaringly evident as Isabel Sanford, who portrayed Louise Jefferson, disclosed that she learned about the show's fate from her cousin, who stumbled upon the news in a tabloid. Publicly expressing her dismay, Sanford criticized the network for its disrespectful handling of the situation by denying the show a proper send-off.
They could at least have called us back, maybe, and we had like an hour closing show. You see, the other sitcoms, they had a closing show.
Adding to the controversy, an article in the May 8, 1985, edition of the Los Angeles Times revealed that the decision to cancel the series was made public during CBS's upfront presentation the day before. Astonishingly, this announcement came almost 2 months prior to the airing of the final episode, leaving both the cast and viewers blindsided. Franklin Cover, the actor who portrayed Tom Willis, shared in the astonishment, recounting how he discovered the cancellation while watching an episode of Entertainment Tonight. The revelation of the series' abrupt end through unconventional channels contributed to the overall sense of dissatisfaction and disappointment among the cast and loyal fans, highlighting the lack of consideration for a show that had been a significant part of television history. Many fans felt that the show's success might have unnerved an industry grappling with racial tensions and deeply ingrained prejudices. Its celebration of Black achievement in the face of systemic challenges potentially unsettled the status quo, leading decision-makers to reconsider its place in the television landscape. Ironically, the show's popularity may have contributed to its demise. As The Jeffersons became a cultural touchstone, its celebration of Black excellence and willingness to tackle societal issues clashed with the prevailing discriminatory attitudes of the era. The very success that made the show a beacon of progress could have rendered it a threat to the entrenched norms of the time. In the intricate world of television production, where cast and crew often become a closely knit family, communication about the future of a long-running show is paramount. The lack of transparency in notifying one of the leading actors, especially someone as integral to the series as Isabel Sanford, indicates a certain disconnect between the higher-ups in the production hierarchy and the talent that brought the Jeffersons to life. Sanford's portrayal of Louise Jefferson was not merely a role. It was a cultural touchstone and a performance that resonated with audiences across the nation. Her dedication to the character and the show was evident throughout the 11 seasons, making her exclusion from the loop on such a significant decision both surprising and concerning. This apparent oversight raises questions about the level of appreciation and consideration afforded to the cast who dedicated years of their lives to the success of the series. The revelation also prompts reflection on the broader dynamics within the television industry during that era. in an industry where communication is a cornerstone of successful collaboration. The oversight in keeping one of the show's lead actors in the dark about its cancellation underscores potential flaws in the decision-making and communication processes. Whether driven by a desire to shield the cast from the disheartening news or a more systemic issue within the production hierarchy, the lack of a formal announcement to Sanford further adds to the multifaceted narrative of the Jeffersons. Moreover, Sanford's experience highlights the emotional toll such abrupt decisions can take on the individuals involved in a production. Learning about the cancellation through external sources, particularly tabloid rumors, adds an extra layer of distress to what should have been a professional transition. This unintentional or perhaps negligent mishandling of information might be seen as a disservice not only to Isabel Sanford, but to the entire cast and crew who invested their time and passion into creating a show that became an influential cultural landmark. In retrospect, the carelessness surrounding the communication of the show's cancellation could be viewed as a symptom of a broader issue within the television industry during that era, a lack of transparency and consideration for the individuals who contributed to the success of a series. This episode in the history of the Jeffersons sheds light on the intricacies of behind-the-scenes dynamics, emphasizing the need for more thoughtful and respectful practices in the way decisions are communicated within the realm of television production. Besides not being informed about the show's cancellation, several cast members of the Jeffersons were also facing financial challenges during the show's production. This unveils a less glamorous aspect of the television industry, where the payment actors received did not always match the cultural impact and viewership of a series. The entertainment industry is often associated with glitz and glamour, but for many actors, even those involved in widely successful shows like The Jeffersons, financial struggles were a common reality. Despite contributing to the creation of a groundbreaking series, many actors found themselves grappling with low payment structures, prompting the need for alternative employment to make ends meet. Marla Gibbs, known for her role as the sarcastic housekeeper Florence Johnston, notably continued her job with United Airlines for 2 years into the show's run. This decision not only reflects the economic challenges faced by actors during that time, but also highlights the inherent instability in the entertainment industry. Gibbs's practical approach to maintain a steady job despite her newfound fame sheds light on the financial precarity experienced by some actors, even amid a successful television career. The disparity between the cultural impact of the Jeffersons and the financial compensation received by its cast members underscores a systemic issue within the industry. While the show's popularity soared, the economic realities for some of its actors did not necessarily align with the series' success. This incongruity could be attributed to various factors, including contract negotiations, industry norms of the time, and the challenges faced by Black actors in an industry where systemic disparities persisted. Moreover, the necessity for some actors to maintain day jobs alongside their roles on The Jeffersons initiates a broader conversation about the financial compensation of actors in the television industry, especially during the 1970s and 1980s. In an era when diversity in leading roles was still evolving, the economic landscape for Black actors was fraught with challenges, and the financial remuneration might not have equaled the impact these actors had on changing societal perceptions. But despite all these challenges, the Jeffersons stood as a powerful testament to breaking away from the prevailing stereotypes that had long confined Black actors in the entertainment industry. During an era where Black characters were often portrayed as one-dimensional stereotypes, the Jeffersons emerged as a revolutionary force, challenging these limiting narratives and providing a platform for authentic representation. The character of George Jefferson, played by Sherman Hemsley, was a departure from the conventional portrayals of Black characters on television. Unlike the typical stereotypes of the time, George was not a subservient figure, but a proud and ambitious entrepreneur who had achieved financial success. His personality was not defined by racial caricatures, but rather by his quirks, flaws, and aspirations. The show's commitment to presenting a Black family as upper middle class was groundbreaking, challenging societal expectations, and providing a more nuanced view of the Black American experience. Isabel Sanford's portrayal of Louise Jefferson further shattered stereotypes. Rather than adhering to the limited roles often assigned to Black actresses, Sanford's character was sophisticated, witty, and unapologetically herself. The relationship between George and Louise was a dynamic and authentic representation of a successful black couple, debunking the myth that such portrayals were incompatible with mainstream entertainment. The Jeffersons not only avoided perpetuating harmful stereotypes, but actively confronted them. The show used its platform to address social issues, pushing boundaries and contributing to the changing landscape of television. From tackling interracial marriage with the characters of Helen and Tom Willis to introducing a transgender character, the series played a pivotal role in normalizing diverse narratives that had long been marginalized. In the context of the broader television landscape, The Jeffersons was a force for positive change, providing a blueprint for future shows to move away from harmful stereotyping. By presenting black characters in multifaceted roles, the series not only entertained, but also challenged societal perceptions, contributing to a more inclusive representation of black experiences. The impact of The Jeffersons extended beyond its runtime, influencing subsequent generations of television creators to prioritize authenticity and diversity in their storytelling. The Jeffersons wielded comedy as a powerful tool to not only entertain audiences, but also to confront and deconstruct racial stereotypes prevalent in the television landscape of the 1970s. The humor embedded in the show was a nuanced blend of wit, satire, and social commentary, creating a space where race could be both acknowledged and challenged in a way that was revolutionary for its time. At the core of the show's comedic brilliance was the character of George Jefferson, portrayed by Sherman Hemsley. George's humor was a unique concoction of sharp-tongued sarcasm, exaggerated facial expressions, and an unapologetic bravado that transcended racial boundaries. Rather than shying away from race-related humor, the Jeffersons embraced it, using George's experiences as a black man navigating success and societal expectations to create humor that resonated with a wide audience.
You're asking us to leave?
No, of course not. I'm throwing you out. But you know you can kiss the social register goodbye.
The racial humor in The Jeffersons was a double-edged sword, serving both as a mirror to reflect the societal prejudices of the time and as a weapon to dismantle those very prejudices. George's interactions with his neighbors, particularly Tom and Helen Willis, an interracial couple, provided a rich source of comedic material. The show tackled the complexities of race relations with a humorous touch, using laughter as a means to address uncomfortable truths and challenge preconceived notions. Moreover, the comedic brilliance of the show extended beyond George's character. The dynamic between George and his wife Louise, played by Isabel Sanford, brought a refreshing and often hilarious portrayal of a successful black couple. The humor derived from their interactions was not solely centered on race, but also delved into the universal themes of marriage, ambition, and the everyday challenges faced by a middle-class family. While the racial humor in The Jeffersons was a central element, it was never reduced to mere caricature or perpetuation of stereotypes. Instead, the show skillfully navigated the fine line between addressing racial issues and presenting authentic, relatable characters. The humor was a vehicle for social commentary, inviting audiences to laugh at the absurdity of racial prejudices while simultaneously encouraging them to question and challenge these prejudices in their own lives. The show's commitment to using humor as a tool for social change was evident in its willingness to push boundaries. Episodes like the one addressing suicide, where Florence the housekeeper contemplates ending her life, demonstrated the show's ability to infuse humor into serious subjects, fostering conversations that extended beyond the confines of the television screen. In the broader context of television during the 1970s, The Jeffersons was a trailblazer in using comedy as a means of dismantling racial barriers. By showcasing a black family navigating success with humor and grace, the series challenged preconceived notions and set a precedent for future sitcoms to embrace diverse perspectives. The Jeffersons didn't just use comedy, it redefined it. The laughter generated by the show wasn't merely entertainment, but a force for social change, breaking down barriers and paving the way for a more inclusive and enlightened era of television. In doing so, the show left an indelible mark on the landscape of comedy and racial representation in the history of television. Beyond its groundbreaking contributions to racial representation and humor, The Jeffersons left an indelible mark on television by addressing various societal issues, embracing diversity, and reshaping the landscape of family-centric sitcoms. The show's impact extended far beyond its runtime, influencing the industry in numerous ways. One notable aspect was the complex character background of George Jefferson. Unlike many sitcoms of the time, which featured simplistic character backgrounds, George's journey from being a janitor to a successful entrepreneur provided a nuanced exploration of upward mobility within the Black community. This narrative challenged stereotypes and showcased the resilience and ambition of a Black family striving for success in a predominantly white society. The Jeffersons was also a pioneer in depicting an interracial couple, Tom and Helen Willis, in recurring roles. The relationship between Tom and Helen not only added layers of diversity to the show, but also addressed societal taboos surrounding interracial marriage. By normalizing such relationships, the series played a crucial role in promoting inclusivity and challenging discriminatory attitudes. Additionally, the show delved into gender roles and presented a strong, independent female character in Louise Jefferson. Portrayed by Isabel Sanford, Louise was not merely a supportive wife, but a dynamic individual with her own aspirations and opinions. Her character contributed to a shifting paradigm in television, where women were portrayed as multifaceted individuals rather than mere accessories to their male counterparts. The Jeffersons was not afraid to tackle serious and taboo subjects. In an episode that dealt with suicide, Florence Johnston, the housekeeper, grapples with depression and contemplates ending her life. This willingness to address mental health issues in a sitcom format showcased the show's commitment to providing a platform for meaningful conversations and breaking down stigmas. The theme song, Moving On Up, composed by Janet Dubois and Jeff Barry, became an anthem of aspiration and success. Its spirited lyrics and gospel-inspired sound captured the essence of the show's central theme, the Jeffersons' upward mobility. The song not only became synonymous with the series, but also transcended television, embedding itself in popular culture as a symbol of achievement. For decades, the show was considered a groundbreaking series that transcended the conventional boundaries of television. Through its exploration of race, gender, class, and taboo subjects, the show became a trailblazer for inclusive storytelling. Its legacy endures not only in the annals of television history, but also in the societal shifts it catalyzed, setting the stage for future generations of diverse and authentic storytelling. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.